Why XCOM 2 War of the Chosen is an expansion pack worth playing.
What are you doing?
Hold very still, Counselor.
There's voice acting, and of course we have Michael Dorn, a unit from one of the Resistance teams called the Skirmishers. He's kind of like the DS9 version of Worf.
There was no other choice. Find an alternate exit. We will deal with the lost.
Then there's Marina Sirtis, a unit from the Resistance team called the Reapers.
Time to join your gods.
There's another team called the Templars, and you get one of those dudes who doesn't really get a character story intro, but it could be randomized. You could get Amari Williams, Dwight Schultz, Laura Post, or Cindy Robinson. Now that's just your squad. The leader of those teams, well, one of them is Jonathan Frakes. He's the leader of the Reapers.
We finally come in from the cold.
Then there's Denise Crosby. She's the leader of the Skirmishers, and you can just tell it's her, but like Worf, she has a modulated type voice. Sounds really cool. And then we have John Delancey. He's the leader of the Templars. He also doesn't quite get a character story intro or a level, but it's John. You can tell right off the bat. At the end of every mission you complete, you get a little piece of propaganda from Garrus or Nelina, reminding you of how much you suck and how awesome the aliens are.
The elders have set forth for us.
And I had Jack in my party once. That was kind of cool. And then she died. That was also kind of cool.
I'll destroy you.
Obligatory Nolan North.
Come out, wherever you are, Commander. I know we've never actually met.
There's also voice acting from various cultures and languages. I seem to always have some sort of angry Scottish girl version on my team. I did have a French guy though, and me being a Canadian, I found that kind of cute, speaking everything in French. But personally, the best part is getting Deanna Troi mind controlled and having her flip out is just, yeah.
Remember me.
There is a huge update. There's just a boatload of new changes. I can't go through them all. There's probably over 100. But let me just give you the ones that I know are really great. There's the Resistance Ring, there's Sit Reps, Stealth Rescue Missions, Normal Rescue Missions, Chosen Presences, Dark Events, Orders, the XCOM Ability Points Pool, the Combat Intelligence Stat, and there's Propaganda. The Resistance Ring is the best addition. You send people out on missions and they come back with money, intel, or whatever. These are based on the factions, so you get influence with that faction. It's great because these factions help you hunt down the Chosen, and you can get some permanent perks, but it's silly in that you can sometimes only come back and maybe get a scope upgrade for a rifle. Yeah, weird, but still a great idea. Sit reps are statuses on the mission that can be good or bad, like having a limited squad size, having the entire map revealed, or having most of the enemies be robots. And remember, all robots must be destroyed.
You are making an unwarranted extrapolation.
Stealth rescues occur when you have to save your own teammates that have been captured, and normal rescues are the same thing, only scientists or advent reps. The Chosen Presence is when one of the Chosen randomly shows up in one of your squad missions, and it changes the whole mission entirely. If you weren't going nuts before, it just cranks up a difficulty, which is always good when you are a purple lightning god. Dark events are one-time events that not only impact the next mission, but also a continent, an area, a stat, something that happens randomly, and they last for a while. It's basically the enemy's version of doing research on humans, making you more susceptible to their weapons, or having stronger armor, or decreasing the amount of money you make in a region. Orders work in tandem with the Resistance Ring, and it's basically you selecting a faction perk that are selectable based on your influence level with that faction. So you can have up to 2 slots per faction, and XCOM can get 3 slots. Each faction can only slot their own faction perks, while XCOM can slot any. One perk I really liked was a double agent perk, where there's a chance you could gain an advent squad mate, which I ended up getting, which I thought was absolutely cool. Then there's the XCOM ability point pool. Now everyone gets ability points, and after you use them up, you have this team pool, and you can just use that in individual squad mates. Now that's based on the combat intelligence, which determines how much AP you gain every time you level up. There's another mechanic called propaganda. Well, it's not really a mechanic, it's more just like a Snapchat filter. Every time you gain a level or finish a mission, you'll make a little poster. If you have a bond level with a certain other squad mate, you'll have this poster there. Sometimes I guess you can see them on the walls of other missions, but I've never actually seen them before. It's unfortunately not a mechanic. It would have been awesome to have that tied into the broadcast system, but still, it's corny, it's cute, whatever. More importantly, aside from all these extra changes, is the standard missions you get are introduced, and they come at you in a choice method, which you have to choose between 3. each with differing perks on victory and things you lose if you don't complete the other two. It's just a great addition to the game. You can only do one of the three. That's awesome to give a player who is micromanaging a resistance team to take back Earth to then choose how to do so on missions, or what missions in the first place. Another thing I thought was okay was a bonding mechanic where you gain perks based on two units that have been in the field together. And I didn't really use this too much. I did level them up. I didn't really notice too many differences. They do get like perks to avoiding psionic attacks, and the problem with this is you're using so many units and you're throwing them in every direction on different missions. You know, they get hurt, they get tired, they have to recover, so you're constantly moving them around, and I never really saw the benefit of it, but still, it's a nice detail to have if you really want to micromanage and keep those two units together. Oh yeah, and there's different new kinds of networked zombies called the Lost that you can headshot in a headshot mechanic. Yay. You can fight at the Lost.
They don't expect us to survive, but that never stopped me before.
Assemble your team. Fight for the Lord.
So ultimately you get three new classes from their own factions. There's the Reapers, which are stealth snipers. There's the Skirmishers. They're your assault units who are quite versatile and designed to take multiple turns, to do multiple things on their turn. And then there's the Templars, which are gods.
Are you a god?
I'm a god. I'm not the god. I don't think.
When someone asks you if you're a...
The Chosen is, of course, one of the big points of the game. They have the ability to capture your teammates and take them away and gain knowledge about you, XCOM, what you're doing, the perks you have, the bonuses and upgrades, the kind of equipment you have, and they can use that to their advantage. They can make their own perks through the dark events. They can disrupt your supplies. And then you have to actually have missions where your captured teammate, you have to go get them, which is great. That's a great idea to make you care about your red shirts. And that goes alongside with the bond system as well. This adds character to the enemies. The enemies are now humanized. Even if they're just mini-bosses, they have a voice. They have a presence, a literal presence on the battlefield. They randomly appear, and they have their own very overpowered weapons and abilities. They also have their own levels. They get stronger as they go on, and you have to go after their stronghold, and you get to pick up their gear if you do win. If you don't go after them, they get so powerful, they come after you, and they can even take down your floating ship fortress that you can totally lose the game. It's just a great idea. You're making villains work with the gameplay mechanics, which were already there, and putting a character as a mini-boss and giving them a voice. That's just a fantastic idea. It works very well. And yes, one of them is Nolan North, and the other one is Eve. I don't know the other guy. These are your 100% accuracy melee DPS, 50% evade tank, stunning, focus snowballing, self-sustaining reaving, AoE burst damage, teleporting, location swapping, high cover making, 100% parry anything, 50% reflect anything, chain lightning, team damage amplifying unit. And they get an SMG.
Cannot be stopped!
And if you give them XCOM abilities, they can just run up to enemies to slice them up without you having to go into melee range. They just take the few extra steps and just kill anything that is susceptible to dual-wielding psionic blades over and over again, all in one turn in a turn-based game until there is nothing left to kill. They can also become immune to all status ailments, not trigger any enemy overwatch, and can melee anything that comes within range over and over while you just sit and wait for your turn to even start. Let me go into more detail here. Imagine having a 100% parry on anything that does damage to you. Okay, now imagine if you get attacked a second time. Now imagine if Jax's Counter-Strike was always on and it was at 50% dodge. Not including the PCS buffs, you can crank up to around 70, and not including focus snowballing, which you then have already been doing because you're being attacked, which cranks up to about 90% evade. Now, if that second or third or fourth hit does get through those evades, there's a 50% chance that it will simply not hit you and reflect all that damage back at the opponent. Imagine crossing Psylocke, Vanguard, and a Paladin. When your boss is Q, you're expected to get some pretty good returns. Unfortunately, Nolan North is immune to my... If you get this expansion on Steam, you're getting dozens of awesome mods that make this expansion even greater, all for free. Unfortunately, it's not compatible with the Long War 2 mod, but that's actually a good thing as this expansion tightens the missions up and makes them more involved, whereas Long War 2, which is an excellent mod, just turns XCOM into a slogfest. But that was the intention. War of the Chosen humanizes the enemy by giving us believable enemies to fight, as opposed to other space games which gives us various flavors of Dr. Claw, by making us care more for our teammates, and making us become sniping campers, Diablo 3 barbarians, or just purple Covenant lightning gods. There are of course some weird things that didn't need to be there, like killing an enemy and sending their corpse to a seamstress so you can dress up like a Power Ranger, randomly making equipment just because we can't tell our engineers to make specific pieces of equipment, and the constant need for every voice actor to finish nearly every sentence with the word Commander. You could feel the I should go coming on in Mass Effect. Wait till you play this one. Still, if having an unstoppable purple monk army of doom isn't your thing, trying to jeopardize Troy in every mission, either from aliens or by yourself, you could always just put every character from Mass Effect in XCOM 2. Oh, and try and kill an evil Eve.
And shoot that f***ing alien in the face.
What is this?
What is this crap? Greta!
Oh my god,
Greta! You shoot this f***ing alien right in the face!
Oh my...
Okay, Greta! Okay, we're sending Jennifer in.
Steve!